we're hearing from a South Heidelberg Township man about his father who fought back at Pearl Harbor on this day 81 years ago. 69 News reporter Jack Reinhardt has part one of his two-part series.
Sitting with detailed letters, Douglas Didyoung of South Heidelberg Township tells us about his father, George Didyoung, a World War II veteran who was born in the Reading area. Didyoung says his father made it to 9th grade before going to work with his family. In June of 1941, at the age of 26, he went to serve in the Army. He was first sent to California as part of a coastal anti-aircraft group.
In July, and they got orders to ship and sail out as soon as possible. They said it was one of the last ships that would probably be sailing, which was kind of interesting, across the Pacific.
That ship arrived in Hawaii, where they set up at Camp Malakoli, right at Pearl Harbor.
The clues were kind of weird. They wondered why they were sent so early, and others were being sent other places really quickly.
He tells us his father was then asked to change brand new equipment by sanding it down and painting it, all within a month's time. On the morning of December 7th, 1941, George Didyoung was in the mess hall eating.
Just as they were coming out of the mess hall, the whole area was strafed.
Didyoung says his father hit the ground and everyone else went running for cover.
They tried to get a hold of their commanding officer, and no one was able to know what was going on. It was total confusion.
He says the soldiers were rushing to get their equipment and ammo while being shot at from the skies above.
He actually told me that he could see the pilot in the plane coming over. That's how low they were.
America was under attack. We'll have more on George Didyoung's account on the Berks edition at 10:30. Jack Reinhardt, 69 News.
And tonight we're hearing more from a South Heidelberg Township man whose father fought at Pearl Harbor.
69 News reporter Jack Reinhardt has the final part of our two-part series.
December 7th, 1941.
Douglas Didyoung's father, George Didyoung, a Reading area native, was in the midst of Japan's surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, serving in an Army Coastal Artillery anti-aircraft group. The attack unfolded as he was leaving the mess hall. Didyoung hit the ground and others ran for cover as they came under fire.
They tried to get a hold of their commanding officer, and no one was able to know what was going on. It was total confusion.
He says his father and other soldiers were able to make it back to where they could get gun emplacements set up, but they had no anti-aircraft ammo, which was locked up. Eventually, they were able to get keys to where it was being stored. Initially, all they had to fight back with were small arms. As they were moving equipment to the beach, they were under constant fire. The Japanese fighters so low, Didyoung says his father could see the pilot.
And at this point, they didn't know exactly what was happening at Pearl. They just know there was a lot of explosions. They knew things were really going badly.
He tells us his father was on the beach with Marines who were protecting underground torpedo storage for the submarines.
Amazingly enough, he said none of his detachment was injured or hit in any way.
Once the attack was over, he says his father and the other soldiers received some members of the Navy who were taken out of the harbor covered in oil.
And he said the first thing we did was try to get them clothes, and they were telling us what happened.
They eventually saw the aftermath.
There was smoke and fire and just everything. It was hell on earth, pretty much.
Not long after the attack, Didyoung's father was sent to islands in the Pacific. He would go on to serve in the reserve after the war. Douglas Didyoung himself joined the military and served in Vietnam. His great-grandfather served in the Civil War, and his grandfather fought in the Spanish-American War. Now, back home in Berks County, Douglas Didyoung is keeping his father's story alive. From a date President Roosevelt said will live
In infamy.
I think it's important because we forget the past, especially what men and women did for us, so we remain free and able to do what we do.
With the unbounding determination of our people.
Jack Reinhardt, 69 News.